Aquaman. Wanted to see this one as well because I heard great things, and it was a DC movie. Hey everybody, today's video does once again bring us down here into the library because it's the end of April, and I figured why not finally dive into everything I've watched during the month of March. I know, I'm late once again with these videos. I apologize, but it is what it is. So, let's just dive right in and take a look again at everything I watched during the month of March, and I'll give you my very quick thoughts on everything. Again, I'm not really a reviewer, but I'll tell you what I thought. So, first up is a movie I've watched multiple times before, but I really wanted to watch again, and that is Bassketball. Oh my gosh, I love this movie. Trey Parker, Matt Stone, although not a Trey Parker, Matt Stone movie, up until like, I don't know, 3 or so years ago, I just assumed this was a movie by Trey Parker, Matt Stone, because it has that Trey Parker, Matt Stone, South Park, Team America, what else? Orgasmo, I'm drawing a blank, Cannibal, a Musical, kind of feel it. It definitely, you could see this being one of their movies, but it's not. Not written or directed by them at all. They basically just star in it. Although my assumption is they probably had a lot of input, because, again, it just has a very Trey Parker, Matt Stone feel to it. It feels like a lot of their comedy, so I want to say they probably had a lot of say in this movie as the movie was being shot, but still, great movie, very funny. I love the idea of basketball in general. It's this mixture of like basketball, baseball, but there's no team trading, and it kind of takes all like the kind of crappy parts of team sports, takes like all that out and just leaves you with the fun stuff. And I really like that. And of course, a corporate guy comes and wants to make it, all corporate, and wants to bring in trading and wants to basically make it, the new big sport, which is not what it's supposed to be. And yeah, so hilarity ensues. Great movie, very funny. If you are a fan of Trey Parker, Matt Stone, you like South Park, you like Orgasmo, you like Cannibal, a Musical, you like Team America, and so on and so forth. If you like those type of things, this is one to watch. Again, not a Trey Parker, Matt Stone movie, but it feels like it is. So, yeah, definitely recommend it. I also love how Jenny McCarthy is on the front here, even though Yasmin Bleeth plays a much stronger role. That's kind of sad, actually. She's a very minor character. She's basically just some comedy here and there, whereas Yasmin is the actual like love interest. So why is she not on the front? Well, I know why she's not on the front, but she should be. That's sad. Anyway, good movie. Check it out. Then I really wanted to watch a movie I haven't seen in a little while, and that is Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I like this movie. I know that not everybody does. I don't understand why. It's fun. It's enjoyable. It's an Indiana Jones movie. It feels like an Indiana Jones movie, in my opinion. I like this one. And it drives me nuts when people, they go and they're like, oh, well, what about this scene, where with the swinging with the monkeys, or what about this scene, or what about that scene? They talk about all these, like, the refrigerator scene where Indiana Jones gets in the lead-lined refrigerator to avoid the nuclear blast. It's like, okay, could that stuff ever happen? No. But have you seen the other 3 Indiana Jones movies? Because if you have, you would know that 90% of the stuff that happens in those movies is ridiculous. I mean, just like, what? For every crazy thing that happens in this movie that people complain about, I could point out a crazy thing in another one of the Indiana Jones movies that happens that is just insane. It would never happen in real life. But I think people just want to nitpick and hate this movie. I don't know. I like it. I find it enjoyable. I from the first time I saw this movie, I liked it. It's a great 4th Indiana Jones movie. They're doing a 5th one apparently, which I do believe will have Harrison Ford in it. I'm excited. I want to see where the story goes. Will he pass the torch? Will he retire? Is it the last Indiana Jones? I don't know, but I want to see where it's going because I like this movie. I don't care what people say. So I've seen, the first 3 Indiana Jones movies about 1 billion times each, and it's just been a little while since I'd seen this one, so wanted to rewatch it, and I love it just as much as I did the other few times I've seen that movie. This one was great. Then I watched Hit So Hard, which going into it, I wasn't sure what this was. I thought it was going to be a documentary about like early 90s grunge rock and the Seattle scene, but it's not. This is actually about, I don't want to get her name wrong, Patty, Shamel, am I saying that right? She was the drummer of the band Hole, and it's all about her basically. Which again, I wasn't aware of going into this. Maybe I should have been. Let's see. Oh yeah, the life and near-death story of Patty Schmel. Okay, I probably should have known that. It does say down there, but I don't know. I don't pay attention. So it's all about, her life and as it says, near death. How she got into like drumming and into Hole, and she got hooked on drugs pretty bad, and it's a wild, crazy story. And if you don't already hate Courtney Love, you will after watching this. Oh my gosh, I love the music of Hole. Well, I did. I didn't like Celebrity Skin. That wasn't a very good album. The only song I liked off that was the one that Billy Corgan wrote, which was it called Celebrity Skin? The hit song. I don't remember the name of it. The hit song off of that album. That wasn't even like written by Courtney Love. It's written by Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins, and it's a good song. Otherwise, I don't really like that album very much. But I loved like early grunge Hole. I loved them. But Courtney Love is just an awful person, and she shows her true colors in this one, that's for sure. Courtney Love really screwed Patty over and kind of brought her into this depression and helped almost push the drugs on her, in the sense that, she already kind of had this problem, and with her depression, it grew, and it never should have happened. She should have just, I don't know, everything should have worked out a lot better than it did. But, again, crazy story. It's really cool to hear about this time period of music, which is, like, in my opinion, one of the best time periods in music. The early grunge rock, like early 90s to mid 90s period of music. The last true, in my opinion, like rock and roll like time period of music. Now it's like all music just kind of sounds the same now, and I mean like all music, rap, country, rock, it's all just kind of, it's slowly like pop, it's all slowly blending into like the same, like listen to it all kind of sounds very similar now. There used to be a time where you go, that's a rap song, that's a rock song, that's a country song, that's a pop song. Now it's like it's all just one, like I don't even know anymore, it's all just one thing now. Anyway, tangents. Great hearing about this like time period of music and her involvement in that time period, and her involvement in Hole and other bands she was in as well. And then of course her getting into drugs and the downward spiral, and her basically not being in Hole anymore, which should have never happened in the first place. It was kind of Courtney Love's doing in a way. Courtney Love / like the producer of Celebrity Skin, in a way. Just crazy story. It gets kind of sad towards the end because she's talking about some some not so good things that she would do to score drugs, and it's pretty bad, but it's a very interesting story, and I definitely recommend this one. If you're like me and you grew up in that time period, I mean, I got really into music when grunge was really big. Like the early to mid 90s was like, early to mid 90s was like right at that time period where music started to actually like be of importance to me. And for a little while there, I was really into grunge, and then I got into punk more. That time period of music was like right when music was like important to me. And as such, it's really cool to watch something like this and just hear about this great time period and the not so great things that maybe happened in this great time period. So awesome movie. Check it out. Then, because a viewer sent me this amazing box set of Gettysburg and Gods and Generals, I had to watch this. It actually been a while since I'd seen these movies. I'd only ever seen them once before, but I really wanted to watch them again, especially Gettysburg, because Chris and I go out there a lot, and I wanted to get familiarized with Gettysburg for next time we go out there. I gotta say, Gods and Generals, which is the prequel movie that was done in like 2000, and when was that movie done? I have no idea. It was much later. It was like 10 years later or something like that. Is it 2011? Is that when the movie came out? I have no idea. Anyway, Gods and Generals came out much later than Gettysburg, and it's the prequel. In my opinion, just not as good. The story isn't as great. I mean, it's an interesting story. It's the kind of the beginnings of the Civil War, but I don't know. The story is just kind of like eh. The characters are just kind of eh. It's like everything about it. I don't know. It just wasn't that great. It's got some really bad CGI at times, which just shouldn't have happened. Whoever mixed the audio for that movie, I'm hoping he was fired. I was going to say something worse, but at the very least, fired. There are these weird scenes where they're talking just normal like this and whatnot, and then all of a sudden, some general will give a speech, and all of a sudden it sounds like he's in this big concert hall, and his voice gets all echoey, and it just makes no sense. Like he's talking to his men, he's giving his men a rousing speech. Why all of a sudden is his voice all booming and echoey? It wasn't 2 seconds ago. Worst audio mixing ever. There's a scene where there's people like sitting around a campfire singing, and it again sounds like a very polished, recorded track as opposed to just some guys sitting around a campfire singing. Really weird. So, not the biggest fan of Gods and Generals. In fact, I don't really see myself ever wanting to watch that movie again. I've seen it twice now. I'm probably just okay. Gettysburg, on the other hand, is a fantastic movie all about the Battle of Gettysburg, and it's really good. I like everything about the movie. I like all all the characters, all the actors, the story itself. It's so interesting. I mean, the ending there with just like the battle. Oh my gosh, it's such a epic battle at the end. It's great. I cannot recommend Gettysburg enough. It is a very, very, very great movie. If you're into the Civil War, if you're into war movies in general, it is one to check out. I will watch Gettysburg 50 more times, if not 1,000 more times. I love the movie. It's really good. I definitely will be popping this one in again in the future to rewatch it. Whereas Gods and Generals, probably done with that movie. But yeah, Gettysburg's fantastic. Check it out if you've not already. Then a movie I've been wanting to watch for a while, or a documentary I've been wanting to watch for a while. Malls Are Us. And I went into this thinking it was going to be a documentary about like the decline of malls, but no. This is actually, I guess, put out kind of before the decline of malls. I don't know what year this is from, 2008-ish. I guess malls were still kind of going strong at that point. I don't know. So it's all about malls and kind of how they like defined cultures and how cultures defined malls and these big grand malls and what they mean, and it's okay. It's an okay documentary. Again, it's basically just talking about these grand malls and how they brought communities together, and how malls also killed like little mom and pop shops and killed the main streets and whatnot, and talks about that and whatnot as well. But yeah, at the same time, it's kind of mediocre. I really wanted to see more of a like talking about maybe like the rise of malls and then the decline of malls. That would have been kind of neat, but I guess it was a little bit too early for that. Maybe they'll do another one where they update it. I don't know. Either way, you don't need to really see that movie. It was just okay. Then, oh my gosh, Creed 2, loved this movie. Creed was amazing. I really enjoyed Creed. It took me forever to get around to watching it, but I finally did watch it not too long ago, and then, I had to pick up Creed 2, because it was coming out, I wanted to watch it, and oh my gosh, such a great follow-up, fantastic. I love that, Ivan Drago's back, it's great. Although I will say, it is just Rocky. Is it Rocky 4? Which one of the Rockies is the one where he fights Ivan Drago? I don't even remember. They all kind of blend together in my head. It's like Rocky 1 and then like 2 and on just kind of like mesh together. But it is just that Rocky all over again. It really did. I gotta say that was my only downfall. Is it just kind of felt like I was watching the same movie again. I mean, a little different, of course, because we got some new characters, but it felt very similar to the movie. It was almost like, I don't want to say shot for shot, but it was very similar to Rocky. Was it 3 or 4? I don't remember anymore. Very similar, but still, it was great. Great story. Great continuation of these these new characters of Creed here. I do want to see where the story goes. I'm hoping for a Creed 3. I would assume we're going to get one because 1 and 2 did so well. So bring it on. I want more Creeds. I love the story. I'm curious to see where they would go with a third story. So Creed 2, loved it. I might have liked the first Creed a little bit more, but still, love the movie. It was fantastic. If you've seen the first one, you liked it, check that one out. Then, Modern Marvels, Transcontinental Railroad. just a documentary about the Transcontinental Railroad. It's great. I love Modern Marvels. It's a fantastic series. Back when History Channel used to actually have history and be good and just be a channel I actually had any interest in watching whatsoever. I miss shows like this so much. Man, History Channel used to be good. And it was awesome learning all about the Transcontinental Railroad and, going from east to west and meeting up, not exactly in the middle, but meeting up anyway. I don't know really what else to say about this one. If you like history, this is one to see. Check it out. I don't know. Okay, then I had to watch Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them again. I've already seen this before, but I wanted to watch it again. I love it. Great, I won't say continuation. It's a great prequel to the Harry Potter series. It's awesome. I love the characters, of the story. As a big fan of the Harry Potter franchise, I love that we're back in the Harry Potter world, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, I guess as they call it, or the Wizarding World, or what do they call it now? The Wizarding World is what they call it. So yeah, I love this, and I had to watch this because I wanted to watch Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. Am I saying that right? I had just picked this up, and I really wanted to check it out because I love this one so much, and I loved this one as well. A lot of people had bad things to say about this movie, and I kind of disagree. And I maybe my ideas on why are wrong, but they're very different movies. In my opinion, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is the setup movie. It's the, hey guys, here's a new Harry Potter, story. We have new characters. We have a new plot, a whole new thing going on. Here's the story. Here's how it's going. It's a lot more sort of lighthearted, more whimsical. It's getting you introduced to these characters, getting you to like these characters or hate certain characters. It's the welcome to the new Wizarding World series movie, and I love it. It's great. Then we get into the Crimes of Grindelwald, and this is where I think the story's like, okay, you got your introduction. Now things are going to take off. And this movie is much darker. I mean, the movie opens up, spoiler, but it opens up with like the death of a child. There's a toddler who's murdered. And I'm like, what? So this movie is a lot darker and grimmer. And this is where they're setting up the story really. Again, this here, in my opinion, was the introduction to the characters and kind of what's going on. This is the beginning of the dark story and where we're going to head. And I love this. I really, really enjoyed this movie. And it got me pumped to see where the story is going to go from here. We have these great characters. I loved Johnny Depp's character, Grindelwald in it. I loved his character. Certain other I don't want to spoil too much. Certain other characters kind of maybe turn and go in his favor. I love the young Dumbledore. I love that. I love that they're kind of bringing us into the very early worlds of Harry Potter and stuff like that. I love that. So I really enjoyed this movie. I don't get the hate. I loved it, and again, I look forward to seeing where the franchise is going to go from here because it is a lot darker. I like that. I like the dark twist of it. I mean, we got these, there are dark wizards, and the story should be somewhat dark. You got your whimsical characters, but you got your dark characters too. I always loved when Harry Potter got dark, so that's why this movie, in my opinion, was great. It was a much darker movie than this movie here, but that's how it should be. Again, welcome to the world. Welcome to the Wizarding World. Welcome to Fantastic Beasts. Let's get into the story now. So I loved it. It was great, and I don't know. I would recommend that one. Then a movie I was a little leery going into, Mary Poppins Returns. I was like, why is there another Mary Poppins movie? I mean, I realized that the book series it was a series, it had sequels and whatnot. I get that, but at the same time, Mary Poppins is such an iconic, strong, just great movie that I was like, I don't know. It's like when they try to do sequels to Wizard of Oz. They're just not as good because Wizard of Oz is such a great, perfect classic movie that people love so much and cherish so much. And the same thing with Mary Poppins, that when you try to make a sequel or something to it, they can be okay, but they're just not going to hold up because the original is just so great and strong and fantastic, and holds such a great place in people's hearts. So going into this, I was nervous. I thought, oh man, is this going to be any good? It was actually, yeah, it was pretty good. Now, no, it isn't as good as Mary Poppins, of course. I'm not saying that. It was not. And it's really difficult for me to say, like, well, maybe go into this movie, just forget Mary Poppins exists and look at this movie on its own. But you really can't, because it is a continuation, and it does involve the Banks children, and Bert's not there, but they do bring up Bert, and there's all these callbacks and whatnot. It's a continuation. I mean, it's not there to make you think it's a different story. It's a continuation of the story. So you can't really go into this one just looking at it by itself. Like I usually say that a lot of times with movies, where I'm like, just look at it at its own, as its own movie, and maybe you'll like it more. But I guess you can't do that with this one. But it's great. It has that heart and whimsy and whatnot that a lot of Disney movies are missing nowadays. And all in all, I thought it was really good. It's not, again, it's not as good as Mary Poppins, but it's, for a sequel, it's pretty good. I mean, I would recommend this one, definitely. Emily Blunt does a pretty good job singing as well. Granted, with that being said, I mean, that's another issue too, is that, can she match that Julie Andrews, singing talent? And no, because who really can match Julie Andrews? I mean, she had perfect pitch, literally. Her singing is just, I mean, it's some of the best singing ever that anybody's ever done. Emily Blunt is good. She can sing well. She sounds great, but she's not quite to that level. She's just kind of, more of that, like, I don't want to say mediocre, but she sounds great, but she's not Julie Andrews. Still, again, really good movie. I would recommend this one, actually. If you're a fan of Mary Poppins, go into it. Maybe watch it a couple of times, because the first time I watched it, I was like, that was pretty good. I enjoyed that. My son fell in love with this movie. He wanted to watch this movie every day, and for like a month straight, he did watch this movie every day. He was obsessed. He loved it. So kids are gonna love this movie. And he likes the first Mary Poppins, but he wanted to watch this one. And even though he likes the first one, he wanted to watch this one over and over again. So because of that, I've seen this movie like 10 times already now. And the second time I watched it, it really kind of was like, all right, you know what? Even the second time around, I'm enjoying this one even more. So, yeah, Mary Poppins Returns, see it. It was actually good. I like that movie. Disney, thumbs up. I mean, to do a sequel to Mary Poppins is a ballsy move, and not one that's not difficult. And you did a good job. I liked it, so I recommend it. Then a movie I can't hold up and show you because due to the great library purge of 2019, this movie is behind movies somewhere, so I can't find it. I watched Conan O'Brien Can't Stop, which is a documentary all about when Conan O'Brien wasn't on The Tonight Show, and I believe it was for like a year or something like that. He wasn't allowed to perform on television or radio or anything like that. Apparently he had to like just go off the grid, but he could still do like stand-up shows. So he basically put a show together, a traveling show where he traveled around and did his show. And it documents that. And it's a decent documentary. It was fun to watch. Not my favorite documentary I've ever seen, but it was good. Conan O'Brien does kind of come off like a jerk. I don't know if that's actually how he really is, but after watching the documentary, I was like, wow, this guy's not that nice. He's kind of a jerk. I don't know. Again, maybe that's not how he actually is, but that's definitely how he came off in the documentary anyway. It is sad to see that how bad he got kind of screwed over with the whole Tonight Show thing, and that's a shame. That should have never happened. I like Conan O'Brien's show. I always thought it was a really, really good show. In fact, I never watched late night shows except for Conan O'Brien. He was the only one I ever watched. Unfortunately, I don't really watch any TV anymore, so I guess it doesn't matter. But back when I had cable and actually watched TV, I did used to watch his show quite a bit. So when he was going to take over the Tonight Show, I thought it sounded great, good idea. And then, the whole ratings weren't what they wanted because they, heaven forbid they give somebody, like, I don't understand, like why not give him some time to let his fans come over and let new fans watch and let him grow and build? But no, they were like, if it's not super strong ratings from the very beginning, we don't want it. And I don't understand that. Let's bring Jay Leno back. And then, anyway, so I guess it worked out for them in the end, though, with Jimmy Fallon and stuff. But I like Conan O'Brien better than Jimmy Fallon, so I don't know. Anyway, great documentary. It was fun to watch. I would recommend it. Again, not my favorite documentary, but still, it was a decent one. And if you're into Conan O'Brien, check it out. Then a movie that everybody was telling me that I should not watch, because apparently this movie's horrible. Action Point. I liked it. What can I say? This was not that bad. I was expecting the worst because everybody told me it was horrible. The trailers, honestly, I didn't think the trailers looked very good either. And Johnny Knoxville movies, they haven't really been all that great as of recently, at least the last few I saw. But no, I thought it was decent. Now again, it's nothing amazing. No. But it's an okay story. I like the time period. I like that it is based off an actual I think it was called Action. Did I say Action Park? It's Action Point. Action Park was the name of the park that Action Point's based on, which is like this big, dangerous park where lots of people got hurt. I think it was in New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken. Lots of people got hurt at this place. It was kind of known as like Death Park. It wasn't safe at all, and that's where they based this off of, basically. All in all, it was funny. Had some great characters. I liked it. I would watch this one again. This isn't one of those one and done movies for me. This is one I will pop in again and watch again. I actually liked this movie, Action Point. I'd recommend it. If you like Johnny Knoxville, would I say he's back? No, but he's good in this. It's worth watching. So again, Action Point. If you heard it's horrible, give it a watch. You might be surprised. I enjoyed it. Again, I will watch that movie again. Then I checked out 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Just a title that flows right off the tongue. This was great as well. There was a murder, a grisly murder of a child, not a child, but a child of somebody. But I think it was a teenager or something like that, young adult maybe. And it hadn't been solved and whatnot, and the mother's all upset about it, and she puts these 3 billboards up, basically calling out the chief of police, and it's this whole big thing now where the town's kind of against her because everybody really likes the chief of police, and I don't want to get into it too much. This movie takes some twists and turns, and it becomes this interesting story of, you go into it kind of thinking that maybe the police did something bad, and why isn't this murder ever been solved? And then you kind of realize that there's sort of a reason for that, and maybe the police aren't actually corrupt, and one of them's corrupt, but for the most part, the police department's not that bad and awful, and nothing really bad happened other than the murder itself. But nobody just gave up on the murder or anything like that. They did what they could, and then there's some other twists and turns, and one of them's pretty crazy and really doesn't go in the way of the mother. So I liked it. It's a really interesting. I don't know what to call this one. I don't say dramedy. It's got some funny moments in it, but it's a drama thriller kind of thing, and has a really, really crazy ending too. Ends, I don't want to say on a cliffhanger, but ends with them going off to do something, and I loved that part of the movie. It was really interesting. So this is actually a good one. I would definitely recommend, again, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Check it out. Fun movie. SpiderMan Into the SpiderVerse. Oh man, I wanted to watch this one so bad because I had heard it's like the greatest Spider-Man movie ever. I don't know if would I say it's the best one? I kind of liked the new Spider-Man movies, to be honest. Homecoming was really good. I really liked it. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd say that it's the best, but I'd say it's one of the best. It's definitely up there with Homecoming and whatnot. So yeah, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Great animated Spider-Man movie. I love all the different Spider people, like Spider-Gwen and Spider-Ham and right? Spider-Ham, yeah. And the noir Spider-Man, the Japanese anime Spider-Man, like Spider-Woman, girl, whatever. All these different Spider-Man men come together and they got to team up to fight, the villain, and it's good. It's so much fun. It's a great story. It's got some really funny moments in it. It's got some great action moments in it. It's a great story in general, and this movie did very well, so I have no doubt that we're going to get a sequel, and I'm on board. I want to see where this goes. I mean, as long as they keep, I see it's a thing. I don't want them to bring like necessarily a bunch of new characters in. I want to see some of the old characters come back, but I want to see like old characters come back with new characters also. So hopefully we get some really cool sequels to this. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, this is definitely one to watch if you're a fan of Spider-Man, Marvel movies in general. If you're not a big fan of like animated movies, this is one that I would say kind of transcends that. My wife is not a big fan of like she likes cartoons. She likes like Disney cartoons and stuff, but you know, watching a Marvel animated movie or a DC animated movie, not something she'd be into. The live action ones, yes. The animated ones, no. But this here was one she wanted to see and one she really enjoyed. So again, if you're not into like the animated movies, this is something very different. This isn't a typical Marvel animated movie. This is a whole different ballgame. Watch it. It's great. Then a movie I can't believe I've never seen before, Gleaming the Cube. I feel horrible saying that, but yes, my first time ever watching Gleaming the Cube, a skateboard movie from the 80s, starring Christian Slater. This was great. I had heard about this movie. I knew this movie existed. I had friends I used to work with who were like obsessed with this movie and kept saying how much they wanted to come out on DVD because they loved it so much. And I never got myself a copy of it until recently. And because of that, I just had never got around to watching it. I never saw it on cable. I mean, I grew up in the time period where this movie was going on, and I just, for some reason, never caught it. It always just bypassed me for some reason. So finally, when I got myself a copy of this on VHS, I knew I had to watch it immediately, and I did. It's so much fun. It's great to watch all these fun people skateboarding. You got people like Tony Hawk and whatnot. Basically, a bunch of the Bones Brigade are actually acting in the movie and starring in it as well. I like that. I like that they didn't just get them to do. They didn't just get like, skateboarders to come in and do the stunts necessarily. They actually got the skateboarders to come in and act in the movie as well, which I thought was really cool. Apparently Tony Hawk still has a scar from this movie. I saw an interview where him and Christian Slater were talking. Anyway, so great movie, fantastic 80s film. If you like skateboarding, this is definitely one to check out. It's amazing. It just has that great 80s feel. There's a murder that's trying to be solved as well. So it's kind of like a skateboarding murder mystery crime movie. It's crazy. It's so much fun. If you're like me and for some reason you've let this one just pass you up over all these years, check it out. If you're into 80s movies, this is one that you got to be not stupid and like me and watch immediately. And then one last movie, Aquaman. Wanted to see this one as well because I heard great things, and it was a DC movie. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was great, but it's a DC movie, and what I mean by that is I have yet to see a DC movie that's really blown me away. I mean, part of this new what they call this, the DC expanded universe, or I forget what they call it. I haven't really seen a movie in this universe of movies that has blown me away as of yet. I've seen ones that are great. Like I really enjoyed Wonder Woman. That was good. And I liked all the other movies all the other movies as well. Like Suicide Squad I enjoyed, and Justice League I enjoyed, and the Batman Superman stuff I enjoyed. Like I enjoyed them all to an extent. They kept me entertained, and that's what this one did. It kept me entertained. It's one of the better DC movies. I'd say that. I'd say maybe right under Wonder Woman or something like that. I don't know. So it was enjoyable. I liked it. I would recommend it if you're a fan of comic book movies in general. If you're a fan of DC movies, yes, there's one to see. But it just, for me, when it comes to DC movies, so far every DC movie I've seen, my thoughts on it are, that was a DC movie. It kept me entertained. I enjoyed it. I'd watch the movie again. I liked it, but it's not like when I watch a Marvel movie where I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to see that 75,000 more times. It was so good. It's kind of like, oh my gosh, it was all right. So will I watch it again? Yes. At some point I'll definitely rewatch this one. But, unlike a Marvel movie that I'd watch like 5 times in a row, maybe like in a year or two, I'll pop this one back in again. So Aquaman was great. I'd recommend it again. It was enjoyable. I'm not trying to badmouth this movie. No, it was an enjoyable movie. Definitely worth checking out. I had a fun time with this movie. Very much kept me entertained. But it's a DC movie. So, all right, guys, that is it. That's everything I watched during the month of March. Hope you enjoyed this video. Only a half hour long, not so bad. But I need some water now. I always forget to bring water for these review videos, and I just spent a half hour talking, and I have no voice now. So, all right, guys, that is it. Again, hope you enjoyed this one. I do it for you guys. I'm not a reviewer, but you guys like these videos, so I keep them coming. So, again, that's it. So, as always, thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Be sure to hit that like button down below. Also, if you want to see a brand new video from me every single day, hit that subscribe button, and you're going to get one. Also, be sure to check down below for links to Patreon, Spreadshirt, and the Cinema Sickness Retro Store. And I will see you guys tomorrow. I have no voice. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Oh, I can speak again.